Welcome back to the channel. Tonight we're going to talk about a white horse. Yesterday's video I mentioned that we are not technically in the tribulation period because during the tribulation period the Antichrist will sit on the throne of a temple that will be built in Jerusalem. And because that temple, that structure does currently, as of today, it does not exist, then we technically can't possibly be in that period. Tribulation is in essence a 7-year period. We don't need to go into all that right now. But in essence, in the middle time frame, the first 3.5 years, at that time frame, right, there's an individual that arises, right? The term we use is Antichrist. Someone, again, the term Antichrist is really misused quite a bit. It's basically the nemesis of Jesus, right? It's just the polar opposite of God, who is Jesus. So he's just completely anti-Jesus. So this is, again, part of this battle that is occurring. But because that individual will sit on the throne in the middle of that tribulation period, that building must be constructed, and currently it's not constructed. So technically speaking, are we in the tribulation period? The answer has to be no, because that building and even the individuals in Jerusalem and the Jewish people have said it will take approximately 3.5 years, 3, 4, maybe 5 years, whatever, in order to construct it. They're not going to construct this temple just in a matter of 6 months. But it's very apparent where we actually are. Where we're at right now is in events in the world that are leading up to the tribulation period. Now, how long that time frame before the tribulation is, until from today until we get there, what is that time frame? I don't know. But there's information that we obviously now have, and I'm going to read right out of my book exactly what that is and explain to you just in a second exactly what that is. But there is no question of exactly where we are right now. And for 2,000 years, well, 1,900 years, because the Bible was in essence finished in 95 AD. So in 2095 would be exactly 2,000 years. So over 1,900 years, the Bible has existed. These words have been written down. This message to people in the future was given, almost a full 2 millenniums ago, of signs to actually look for. So those individuals that look and continue to read the Bible and understand and continue to absorb the information, learn about it more and more, right? What happened in the past couple months triggered an amazing event. So I've been, in essence, kind of a bit superficial to this point, just kind of laying some groundwork about this, our physical form and dimensional form, our purpose here, gave you a little bit of information about the Bible, just how relevant it is, especially today, when I share this information with you in just a second. And, kind of talking about some other things. We'll certainly have videos that just kind of talk about some very simple things, and they don't need to go very long. Just need to get some information, move on to the next thing. But again, the book that I wrote, I finished this book in 2012. It's called The Deathless War. This is, the subtitle of it is Surviving the Final Battle Between Good and Evil. I think many of you in the world right now, especially those watching this video right now, can certainly see this power struggle between good and evil. Certainly here in the United States, with the current administration and the media and the opposition, there is a tremendous political battle that's going on. And this book fully explains this dimensional battle that's actually occurring, how it manifests into our world through things like politics and government, through economics. Look at just what's happening now with the price of oil going to zero and below. Now, you're in essence getting paid to sort of technically getting paid to take delivery of oil as opposed to paying for it. Never in history has this ever happened before, right? Unprecedented. But there's a lot of other things. We see signs and wonders, signs of, a lot of earthquakes, a lot of volcanic activity, just a lot of amazing things. But what basically I'm going to share with you right now, I'm going to read just a page and a half or so out of my book. It's going to telegraph exactly where we are in this process, and then after I read this, then I'll give a little bit more commentary to kind of, again, I do not want you to fear about what I'm about to read, right? Feared armor is us, individuals who have knowledge and who have information that others can latch onto and start preparing for what's to come. Okay? And you'll have to excuse me, I have to put my glasses on because I'm getting old and I just can't see anymore. So this is in the chapter called The Final Battle. This is one subsection I entitled The Cavalry is Coming. Personally, I gravitate to the final book of the Bible, most likely due to the extensive use of visual imagery. This transfers information for me more efficiently than verbiage alone. However, just because I graphically envision these images or scenes unfold in my mind does not itself translate into complete understanding of their implicit meaning. Nevertheless, it does begin to establish some of the major events of concern. The first images I recommend everyone fundamentally understand reside in the 6th chapter, where the 4 horsemen are revealed. This is the 6th chapter of the final book of the Bible called Revelation. These 4 riders coincide with the first 4 of the 7 seals open from the scroll. Daniel learned about these visions in approximately 536 BC before Christ, some 2,500 years in the past from today. The way I process these 4 horsemen in my mind is they are given the power to unchain evil dimensional beings that are bound from imposing their specialized nefarious will on mankind. Once this is done, these specialists are then freed to engage their enemy, humans, and manipulate them to verbally and physically act out on their behalf. Very important to remember that part. Dimensional evil will utilize any and all of the manipulative schemes at their disposal, some of which are outlined in the Enemy Strategies chapter, and target individuals who are easily manipulated to fall in line with their agenda. And remember, I wrote this, finished this book was published back in 2012. As you read about each of the colored riders, note they receive their marching orders from the dimensional camp of God and not from Satan. We know this because John sees these riders. John wrote the book of Revelation. John is having this vision in heaven where he sees these riders, and he is witnessing the throne of God. The living creatures which call these riders to come are likewise in this dimensional locale, obviously in heaven, right by the throne of God. So in the 6th chapter, in the 4th chapter, the 6th verse, it says, in the center around the throne were 4 living creatures. These are not the horsemen. And they were covered with eyes in front and in the back. So again, when he's talking about this, we can actually know that there's this this creature that's actually there, but it's right at the throne of God. The purpose of making this observation clear is to convey the fact that forces of good are always in control of everything past, present, and future. Neither Satan nor any of his followers can randomly inflict global chaos on a whim. If they could, rest assured, they would have already done so by now, virtually destroying the earth already. Instead, they are all controlled and limited in capabilities, whereby they must adhere to certain rules of engagement that were established in the dimensional realm by God. While we do not know the specifics of these laws, clearly they exist, similar to the laws of physics, chemistry, and biology. This should be good news for each of us, knowing I am God, the name that God gave Moses, is always in control, and those who align themselves with him possess the ability to never fall victim to dimensional evil. However, sending these horsemen to earth with orders to unleash the forces of evil seems contradictory to logical military strategy. Again, this book is basically all written kind of has a military theme and throughout the entire book. On the surface, it appears these riders are aiding the adversary by removing their restraints. Yet, if we think in those terms, we are forgetting the ultimate purpose of this final battle, which is to force everyone to declare a side quickly before the powers of evil destroy everyone. I'll do a video, actually tomorrow's video I'll do this, and basically say why God will never be the one to end the earth, as so many believe. So many believe that God is the one that starts the ball in motion to end civilization as we know it, and that's not true. So again, let me just go back. Yet if we think in those terms, we are forgetting the ultimate purpose of this final battle, which is to force everyone to declare a side quickly before the powers of evil in the dimensional realm destroy everyone. The four horsemen set this process in motion. They will unchain evil that has been bound for the purpose of creating immense chaos on earth. The result will be mankind having no choice but to expeditiously declare a side. This is similar to a limited time offer we see every day on television commercials. But we must always remember we brought this upon ourselves by allowing evil to infiltrate into our lives over time. Apparently, we fail at some point in the future. Remember, I finished this book in 2012. And the final outcome of this ultimate endgame battle will no doubt place each of us in our infinite dimensional place, the white horse. This comes out of Revelation 6, starting in verse 1. I watched as the Lamb opened the first of the 7 seals. Then I heard one of the 4 living creatures say in a voice like thunder, "Come." That was the creature that was in front of the throne that I read just a little bit ago. So we know that this is right at the throne of God right now in heaven. I looked, and there before me was a white horse. Its rider held a bow, but no arrows, and was given a crown. And he rode out as a conqueror bent on conquest. He was given a bow as a sign of battle, and he was given a crown. Now, many of you that already know exactly what I'm going to say next, that study the Bible, or that just might have just clicked for you, and I'm just kind of talking a little bit so that if God is actually prompting you to say, listen to my voice, right? What he's about to say, you are absolutely right. You're on the right track. I've had many moments like that in my life. So again, I just wanted to pause just for a moment to give you that opportunity. Crown in all languages, English to Latin, English to Greek, English to Hebrew, crown means corona. So 2 months ago, here in the United States, 3 months ago, we started really kind of hearing about this. This wasn't something that was, in essence, in the mainstream. Coronavirus is signaling to people that have been reading the Bible for 1900 years, trying to figure out when are we going to start seeing signs that we're going to be progressing and moving into these very difficult times. Now, I want to be very, very clear. We do not know how long that time is until the tribulation starts. Then we get to the mid-tribulation and the extremely difficult time in the end tribulation before the final battle at Armageddon actually occurs. We do, however, know, and we did not know until 2 months ago, 2 or 3 months ago, that the sequence has started. The first seal has been opened. The white horse has been unleashed. Now let me explain again. This is what John sees happening in heaven. Okay? And now we actually see the manifestation of this, right? He was given a crown, very, very specific. He could have been given anything. But he was given a crown, a bow to signify a battle, but not a bow with arrows, but just a bow signifying a battle is beginning. But he's given a crown to signify, not to anyone over 1900 years, anything. Everyone reading the Bible from the century that the first century through the 20th century, everyone reading that, they never ever knew what the crown was for, right? Revelation means to reveal. These things are given to us to reveal when they actually occur. It never ever would have made sense for the past 1900 years until now, until a couple months ago. So there is no doubt that the sequence has started. What none of us know now is how long from where we're at right now until the tribulation, the difficult times start, when the rebuilding of the temple is going to occur, when the mid-tribulation period comes where the Antichrist will occupy the temple, and the extremely difficult nature of the second half of the tribulation period, right, called the Great Tribulation, before the final battle occurs. But we do know now that we're now in the sequence. Heavenly events have happened, and that has now again manifested itself into our world through individuals. Let's assume that individuals, nefarious individuals here on earth, somehow, one theory, that they released this very, very destructive virus. Okay? That's a very, very real possibility, right? Because we're talking about individuals that that are, many of them, controlled by dimensional forces, evil dimensional forces in the heavenly realms. Okay? Just as we gain a lot of strength from spiritual forces of God imposed on those who have decided to align themselves and fight on God's behalf. Okay? We gain strength. I do not have a sense of fear through this, right? Because the Spirit of God is suppressing and keeping all fear away from me, right? But again, just remember, when I wrote this back in 2012, I did not even think in my lifetime I would see this. It would be something that I would write for future generations to take a look at. But there is no doubt we are now in the sequence. The sequence has started, and it's now time to start preparing. Again, I'm not saying when we're going to get into the difficult parts, but the sequence absolutely has started from what we were telegraphed almost 2,000 years ago. Okay. Tomorrow I will do a video very, very quickly on the reason that we know that God did not initiate this final end time sequence. Okay? Till that video, stay safe. Thanks for watching.